Hey everybody, Dan God of Thunder here. Somehow we're still alive, somehow we have made it to the Season 7 update notes. So there's been a bunch of videos for Odin, Bastet, the Season 7 conquest changes, and the changes to magical penetration. I'm going to skim through those when I get to it. Trust me, there's enough shit already. Skins. Hey, they have another 13 of them. Good. Most of them will be fucking impossible to get. Pay up, fuckers. More shit. Don't care. Don't give a fuck. This is all their monetization shit. And you can see where the priorities are, where they put it at the top. New event. Don't give a fuck. Swordsmen and archers stand further apart than intended. They should always be 35 units away. That's a weird bug. I don't know how they get that. Extra speed with displaying a long string of numbers for its duration, which is pretty funny. It's a pretty funny issue because it's supposed to be 9999 seconds. It's the only way they could figure out how to do it. So in theory, if your match went like longer than an hour and a half after you got the elixir of speed, you had to rebuy it. Let's see. Oh, they fixed Umoja. They fixed that and they hotfixed that, but they couldn't hotfix her breaking the fucking game. Great. Daily login updates automatically claimed again. Good. Thank you. I thought that was something they did on purpose to make sure people got fewer rewards. Good thing they fixed that. Engine updates, whatever. Surrender votes. So 3-1 with a non-vote is now a surrender, is an F6 rather than it going to continue the game, which is good. I like that change. So as long as 3 people say yes and the other person just doesn't say anything, it's now a surrender. Overall, a good change for Smite. Let's see. They've added some skins to whatever. Who gives a fuck? Jungle Shrine. Jungle Shrine gains a stack for every 3 monsters your team kills, up to a maximum of 21 kills. Attacking the shrine consumes a stack and rewards each player with 5 gold. Okay, so you can get 15 gold per player by doing it. Base health, they added 2 alpha harpy camps next to the duo lane. They said that these are supposed to be like oracle harpy levels of power, which is pretty good. I like that. I like having the 2 harpies on the left-hand side. I think that duo lane side, that's a really good change. Split the mid XP camp into 2 camps, which each have... Okay, so they're not really giving more experience. It's just harder to... You're going to always have a little bit of your own. Okay, that's cool. Let's see. They went over this before. The speed and void will be at 20 now. And every minion is every buff monster, like every jungle camp, is a little bit stronger. Jungle Shrine, the gold from that is actually going to decrease the amount of gold given, not experience. They're not going to have that being unified now. That's weird. Of tier 1 from 100 to 75 per player. And 300 to 250. I think these are good changes. I think those are good changes overall, just to make the game a little bit less snowball. It's going to be a little bit harder to just steamroll the other team if there's like one weak link in like solo lane or mid, something like that. Just a totem of coup. The totem of coup has basically been nerfed. The time when you need it the most to sustain your mana, it's not going to be nearly as good. It used to be 25 at all points in the game, so that's fine. Jungle buff, let's see, it's going to be 2 MP5 per 10% of missing mana. So this is a nerf. Mana, the blue buff is not nearly as useful. So it's going from 20, so it's going to be pretty much okay, but not nearly as good. So mana is going to be a lot harder to come by next season, just as a note. Damage is going to be nerfed heavily as well, losing the 5% power bonus versus enemy gods. The one thing to remember is that it's going to be a lot harder to siege into red buff. It's not going to be very easy to invade that now with the change to the map. So there's going to be a giant-ass wall where you used to do your most common invade strat. So it's going to be a lot harder. Speed buff got buffed for whatever reason, adding randomly 10% crowd control reduction, which... Let's just slap a random stat on it. I don't know what they were thinking with this. I really don't. Yeah, let's make junglers harder to lock down, because a tenth of it's going to be A, very important. It's not. And B, junglers needed help, apparently. I don't know where they fucking got that idea from. Purple buff is being... it's going to be now the hunter buff, not a buff for supports, which sucks. I think they need something to do. But... You know, supports, I guess, can fuck off and die. They can get to level 5 and sit in base. And then ult and then die. Joust. Who gives a shit about Joust? I don't. Do you? MMR won't reset at the end of each split. Player metric will be revealed. Variants. Okay. So Specialist Blessing is giving... 10 HP 5. Who cares? You can't get it in Conquest. It's still useless. Guardian's Blessing is now going to be useless in solo lane, so it's going to be a lot harder to play into it if you're playing a very slow defensive character. Solo lane is going to be even more hostile than it was in Season 6 because this item is gone. You do not gain any mana per minion death anymore, but you gain 7 HP 5 and 7 MP 5 while you're within range of a teammate. So this is really going to be a park your ass in one place and stay with your hunter sort of item. Just so you guys know, if you are doing that, it's actually going to be about the same. Is it going to be... Yeah, it'll actually be exactly the same, since you were getting 42 hit points per 30 seconds and 42 mana points per 30 seconds. So it's going to be a slight nerf because you won't get the 5 MP 5 anymore. But beyond that, it's going to be the same item, basically. For HP, for health healing, it's going to be the same item. Assassin's Blessing is even stronger now. You get a 40% increase. Again, because junglers needed help. Season 7 is really going to be about the hyper-farming jungler. At least a start. Then they're going to realize they were fucking stupid. Relics. Vision Shard. We went over this in the Conquest patch. Things they've clarified. Ward placement from the Vision Shard does count towards your ward limit of 2. And when you hit level 12, this doesn't go away. I don't like that. That's really fucking bad. They need to change that immediately. Because it's gonna add confusion to new players. Because I can guarantee you, if you go and you're playing like sub-level 30 games and even some higher level games, you're going to see some players who will keep that in a 50-minute game. There's going to be people that have this throughout the whole game. They shouldn't. They're stupid. They don't know any better. Or they forget because they think there's something there. This needs to go away at level 12. Hand of the Gods does 150 true damage on your side of the jungle. Okay. Again, this is going to help. We'll see. I don't know how much this is going to be necessary for junglers. You might see it as a way to try to stop invade. Who knows? Rework, Potion of Power. Okay, so magical and physical power pots are being a single item now. So it's 70 magical, 40 physical, no pen, no additional damage or anything like that. It's 10% CDR with a 5-minute duration. Okay. Chalice and double chalices won't work anymore. Okay. We went over that in the last patch as well. Mystical Mail is getting a 250 gold drop in cost and 100 gold drop in health. I think that's a fair trade. What they want this to be is this was supposed to be like an early game item, but it was so expensive you could never get it. And afterwards, it was really a win more item. You never got it unless you were already kicking ass. Okay. I can appreciate that. Witchblade getting 50 more health. Shoguns Kesari getting 5% more attack speed. I like both of these. Witchblade is actually a pretty good, albeit niche item into hunt heavy auto attacker compositions. And I think it definitely was underpurchased in those kinds of scenarios. 50 more health will make that pretty legitimately a tank item, along with its utility. Shoguns Kesari will be pretty useful. I always thought this was a good item in certain comps. Niche, but good. The community kind of disagreed with my assessment on it. I think it's still kind of light on defense, and that's okay. But they're reinforcing what it does well. Sovereignty and Heart Ward Amulet are getting more HP 5 and MP 5 to increase some of that utility. It's not a bad pickup. Heart Ward is still going to be niche. Sovereignty is still going to be very good. So, that being said, I don't really know why it needed a buff. I thought Sovereignty was fine, but whatever. Dynasty Plate Helm is no longer going to give penetration. They went over that in the magical penetration thing. There will be no more flat pen on items for mages. They're going to also add the Tyrannical Plate Helm. This is semi-hybrid, good amount of power, but not a ton. Physical prots, health, crowd control reductions. Well, a lot of shit on one item. And ally minions are stronger, and you gain power when they die. 15 seconds is a long time for that to last. It should be more like 10. 8 or 10. That's actually pretty good, especially like if you get this early in lane. It's doubly so if you're playing into a physical mid. I think this will be... I like that idea of bringing back... what was it? Promote? Whatever the mechanic they had that buffed minions, the minion-specific effect. I think it's a cool addition. I like it on this hybrid item. I think it's a little overtuned right now. But that being said, it's going to mostly be on a mid laner who really needs... they need that reliable power, which this doesn't have. It doesn't have enough magical power and like Doom Orb to really compensate. Stonefall, you're going to borrow magical protections from a teammate with a lot of them. I like this. We'll see. I don't know if this is still going to get picked up. It wasn't before. Because if the passive was ever going to come in on the characters that wanted it, you were probably already fucking dead. And the characters that really wanted defensive item with a little bit of power, the passive was never going to kick in. So we'll see. I think this is kind of neat to be a mage that doesn't get one shot by another mage. We'll see how much it matters. 20% of magical protections from a nearby teammate with the highest magical prots. You could be gaining another 40 or 50 protections off of this. So that's pretty good. It's a little on the expensive side for basically like a 100 offense, 100 defense item. That's situational. Ring of Hecate. You gain more lifesteal on top of your lifesteal, up to 22% lifesteal as you hit as you box, basically. It's not cheap. I think this will be good. We'll see. I like having the item in the game. I just don't know if this is going to be... This is like the hunter... This is going to be the mage hunter equivalent to Devourer's Gloves. Except it's a lot more expensive, but it comes online immediately. It's not as good as Devo's, I don't think. But I think this will still be nice. I don't know if this will be a must pickup. This is much better for Mage ADCs and Shaman's Ring. I think Shaman's Ring was cool. I liked it. But it was a little on the bit on the superfluous side. Sharons Queen. 20% magical pen. So this is one of two items that are heavy magical pen. Gives you magical MP5. Kill or assist a coin is flipped. If you tails, you gain 2% movement speed. If it's heads, you gain 7 HP 5. You also gain 1 gold. On evolution, you gain 150 health on a god, kill, or assist. If tails, you gain 5% movement speed and gain gold for 6 seconds. I don't understand the evolution part of it. Why do they have to put healing on this? I don't know why they have to put movement speed, healing, heavy pen, MP5, and power on one item. It's expensive, but mages were already building Doom Orb first. This is a low power, high pen version of Doom Orb. I think this is going to be Sharons Queen is going to be the meta. They really needed to get rid of this you gain 1 gold because it clutters up the text. Keep it simple. Adding the coin just adds more rules, more text, and it's pointless. But this item as it is does everything. It does everything well. Just so you also know, each stack can stack up to 4 times, and 8 stacks it evolves. So what it means is that, let's just say you get heads 4 times in a row, the next 4 will be tails. By the end of 8, you will always get 28 HP 5 and 8% movement speed. This and Doom Orb will be really expensive, but in casual games you'll get away with it. And it's going to be really stupid. Shoes of the Magi are cheaper, no more pen, increased magical power, which is fine. I think this will still be okay. The magical pen was really great on it, but with a little bit of a cheaper cost, a little bit of extra power, you'll be fine. Shoes of Focus are a little bit more expensive to compensate. Again, because mana is going to be a more valuable stat, MP5 will be a more valuable stat, especially on mid laners than before. Spell Focus is going to get a nerf, 10% magical pen rather than 15. Ob Shard is going to get basically 20 or 30 rather than 15 to 45. Spear of the Magus is going to do subsequent hits off of the same ability, so dot damage. Each tick will do 5% more. So like if you're hitting with a Kukulkan Whirlwind, it's going to do 5%, and then it's going to go up. Each one's going to do 5% more. Pythag's Piece is going to get better for some reason. It's already got HP, lifesteal, and some power. Now it's going to have pen. Won't have cooldown reduction, so it's not as useful for solos or supports, but it's still going to be very good. Typhon's Fang gets magical pen for some reason. Still very niche. Soul Reaver gets magical pen for no reason whatsoever. 20 less power. Still keeps the same passive, but also 100 gold increase. Mage builds are going to be very expensive. They're going to be very slow, but they're going to be very impactful. Staff of Mirrodin is going to get magical pen, but a little bit less power because no one was building it. It sounded better on paper. I think we all thought it was going to be broken. I did. Turns out, not so much. Warlock's staff is going to be in a weird spot now. Instead of it being 500 health at the end and like 130 power, it's now going to be 140, 225, 200 mana, and pen. This comes up a little bit quicker, but I think you're gaining a little bit of magical power. It's like, I think you only were getting like 130 before, along with 225 health, 200 mana. So we'll see. Spear of Deso is no longer going to get magical pen, or any sort of pen, but it's getting 10 more power. Rod of Tahuti is going to get 10 more power. Soul Gem gets 15 more power. Soul Gem might be a little bit more useful now. Polynomicon is actually pretty good. It's going to get 10 more power. Note that Polynomicon is going to get a lot of value too, because it's really the only way for mages to do effective tower damage with no more flat pen. Chronos Pendant's cheaper. It does a little bit more damage. Talkine's Ring is going to do a little bit more damage. Restored Artifact will now be available at the start of the game. And a little bit more damage. This is actually going to be, because I think it has like 15 MP5, you might be able to just start Restored Artifact in some games. Enchanted Ring is going to have 40 power, not 45, but at 10% attack speed. This is good. Demonic Grip is going to match now. They're also nerfing Executioner, whatever. Wardstone. So Wardstone and Voidstone are going to be more effective against tanks. Whereas before you would only reduce 15 procs, now you're reducing 10%. This is actually kind of cool. It's not as effective against squishy mages or squishy hunters, but this is going to be a more effective anti-tank item. Same is true with Void Shield. In most cases, this is a nerf, But this is actually pretty interesting, especially here where they've increased the power to 40. It's still a defensive item, it's still a supportive defensive item, but pretty cool. I like it. Stone of Binding is getting a small nerf, which is fine. Audacious Shield. This is going to be off of the Onculae and Void Shield tree. It's going to be 30 power, 35 of both prots, a little bit of health, and it's basically a physical Rod of Asclepius. Hercules. Alpha Jackal brought up Hercules as being a very good pickup for this. Guan Yu is going to like this. I think Guan Yu with this will be a beast. He's going to have prots. He's going to be able to brawl it out, and he'll be healing for 25% more. It's going to be nice. Let's see. Curse Blade's a new tier 2. Okay. Glad Shield will only trigger once per ability. Every subsequent hit off that same ability is going to be not as effective. It's still good in laning phase, but this is a pretty good change. It doesn't really change its appeal for like 1v1 boxing, but you're going to get, instead of, I think it's like 1.5%, you're going to only get 0.75% back if, say, like the jungler ganks you and hit both of them. Void Shield is going to have the same thing where it's in Spike Shield. 15% physical protection reduction. So it's really good at fighting into tanks. So like if a tank has 300 protections, which is a lot, this is going to reduce it by 45 compared to 20. But it's a very high threshold for it to be break even from before. Silver Branch remains niche, but the increased passive getting 1.5 power per 1% excess attack speed is pretty nice. Apollo might like this item a lot now. XE, Warrior's Bane, these are all changes from the pen. Hydras Element is going to get a decrease, 10% of your basic attack power, 10% additional damage from 50 to 40%, 20% nerf off of the power of the Lament. Still good. I think still like in-hand assassins will still like it. Poison Star and Wind Demon get small buffs, 10 power off the Poison Star, 15% attack speed on the Wind Demon. That's fine. No one was still buying Malice, even if it was on paper absolutely bonkers. 10% cooldown reduction, so now it's going to be very easy to get max CDR, along with the CDR passive. Soul Eater, the sustained choice for physical gods. Do they not remember Devo's Glove exist? Ability usage to make use of it. No shit, that's its job. Physical gods often fill in damage with basic attacks. Yeah, it had lifesteal. Fine, it's going to give more lifesteal when it evolves. Off of physical power and the ability lifesteal? Okay. I thought it was fine, but okay. Masks, 20%. It's going to be more viable than before. It's actually going back to its old numbers. So you might still see... They changed some of the other characters like Fenrir support around. You might see like a health support try to play it now with Lonos Mask. Who knows? Fighter's Mask and Rangda's Mask. There's no pen on it anymore, which is fine, but they're going to add more power. It's a nerf. No one was playing Rangda's Mask anyway, so... Odin, we went over this before, but Gungir's Might, they gave us the numbers. 125 plus 30% power on pulse damage, and it's going to slow, so it's going to be a little bit like the old Gungir's Might, which is okay. Gungir, however, on its 2 or 3, is going to be 330 plus 75% physical power. This is strong, especially on a homing ability. I think this makes Odin very good, along with 5 hits to break a wall. Wall pieces are not that big, and they take 5 hits to break open. This makes Odin very good. I think this makes him a very viable jungler. This makes him a viable solo. I think it also makes him a viable support. So, we'll see. Bastet, the big thing that they didn't clarify earlier is that it's going to be 2 hits to kill a cat. And the Guardian of Bast, like, they're very close to her, and they basically just make all of her AoEs bigger. So you're going to take like 160% damage off of it, and it lasts forever. This is the big thing. It lasts for 12 seconds. So I think that she's in a really good place right now. I don't know where they would, if they're going to, we'll see what happens. I think some of these numbers are a little high for how much extra damage she gets. But that's about it. And the duration, I think they're going to have to cut that to like 9, maybe 9 seconds, and then like take 5% off the top of each damaging ability. Achilles gets an irrelevant nerf. He's going to lose 4% physical power increase off of his 2. Achilles players don't care. It hurts him a little bit in jungle, but that's about it. Artemis gets a good buff that she was desperately in need of. 20% more physical power off of her Suppress the Insolent. That's her Rain of Arrows, the poke. That's a good buff for her. Baron Samedi also gets a really good change as well. 20 more damage at all ranks with the Vivid Gaze. This helps him clear out wave immensely. That's kind of where he really just doesn't have a place right now. He's still a little bit too close range to play mid, but hopefully this will put him in a better spot. Kirkulin, now he's going to get more power per level off of his Berserk form. Does that really give him now from 40 to 60 at level 20? Oh, that's a lot. Spear of Mortal Pain will pretty much guarantee he goes into Rage, so that's good. Freya gets a small nerf. 10% plus 0.25% per level. You won't notice it. She needs a nerf, agreed, but I don't know. Kind of a weird thing to give her like this passive that scales, but no one gives a shit about it scaling. Guan Yu is going to have more mana. That's the big one. Base attack speed increase as well, which is nice. Hades is going to get mitigation off the ult, and he's going to be a lot tankier now. Good luck killing him in the ultimate. Still not that good, I don't think. Whatever. Indalier, he's going to get less scaling off of his passive, so instead of getting 15% free physical power off of every single fucking team fight, he only gets 10% now. 5%. Piercing Sight, which is his poke, is going to be 10% less. Through the Realms, this is a fucking joke. The first hit power scaling decreases from 110 to 90. This is an ability that does over 1,000 base damage with 200% scaling. Reducing the damage you deal off of it by 40 at level 20 doesn't fucking matter. This is about 1,400 damage. This is 4 seconds of banish and a 2.5 second slow. If for some reason putting them out of the fight for 4 seconds and dealing 1,400 damage to them wasn't sufficient. Heimdallr is still top pick, top ban, and any coach who lets him through in a professional game should be immediately relieved of their duties. End discussion. Isis is still very good. They're reducing her damage by 20 at all ranks, plus 15% magical power scaling. I think they should have just done the scan. Well, I don't know. I think they should have probably just done the base because she's very good early still. Still pretty. I think she'll still be okay, regardless. But the wing gust, which is her primary clear, if she can't really clear effectively, which that's really where this is a big problem in her early game, she can't really clear effectively or safely. Isis might not be playable. That's the kind of the risk they're running. So we'll see. Nami is getting basically 10% more damage off her basics when the projectiles return. Okay. 2 seconds. 2 seconds off at level 1, and then a half-second reduction? That's new. Off spectral projection. Okay. Jingwei is going to be her agility, air movement speed buff, 30 to 25% decrease, and movement speed buff overall from 15 to 20. So she's going to be less mobile off of agility, and airstrike gives her a little bit less of an option for where she can land afterwards. Still, she's going to be fine. If you're a Jingwei player, you probably will notice this, but it won't really... You won't lose or die where you would have won before. Good change. Nemesis is going to get a little bit more power off of her dash. Okay. You really generally don't use the dash too much to secure kills, but that's fine. I like that to make it makes her more interesting, gives her more options. Does she hold the dash and engage off of that, just jump in? Does she wait for it in order to clean up? I like that. Nike's getting some more HP 5. This was important because she has no way of self-sustaining in her kit. And because she doesn't, that's really, in my opinion, her biggest problem in solo right now. Especially with the double pot change. She's really going to struggle to survive in solo. But now that she does so much more damage, she does 10 at all ranks more. This is now 30, really, in practice at all ranks. And the barrier does 20 more damage at all ranks. I don't know if she's still going to be a very good solo, just because it's going to be harder for her to sustain than ever before. But I think she still has playability. Maybe people might look at her as an assassin to play jungle. Ram is getting some quality of life buffs. 8 lower mana to fire Astral Barrage, which is good, because he's always been a very traditional crit hunter. Astral Quiver now always starts at 5. Okay. And he's a little faster. That's fine. Serket's getting some minor nerfs, 10 damage at all ranks. She can hit 3 times with a Death Bane. And then Last Breath is going to do true damage, but with a pretty big nerf and adding physical power. This was really meant to tackle Serket as a support. So hopefully that's dead. They really didn't want her as a support, I suppose. And when she does 660 damage, true damage anyway, and reposition someone, that makes sense. Wukong gets some love as well. Master's Will is going to have an attack speed slow and movement speed slow. That's actually pretty big overall, since he's really meant to just be a pain in the ass type of character. That's actually a pretty big buff. Somersault Cloud doing more damage doesn't matter. Thor's Anvil of Dawn is going to go from 90 seconds at all ranks to 110 to 90. That's a good change overall. I think that makes you more strategic. It's going to force you to choose your fights more selectively. I like the change. Doesn't really lower his power too much. I don't think it's going to make him unplayable, but we'll see. So I think the big thing is going to be just they redid so many of these items with this. Oh, we've got to change how magical penetration works, and I think that was a flawed plan, because they basically said instead of everyone needing to get Obshard in order to be relevant, now no one's going to be relevant until they get 5 items. I think this Sharons Queen is going to be a very key item. People are going to get it because it gives a mid everything they want but power. But we'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, and all that. As I work towards being able to monetize the channel, I'm just going to be very open. That is what I'd like to do. YouTube does not allow that until you've had 4,000 hours watched and 1,000 subscribers. So if you can hit the follow, the subscribe button that is over, yeah, and then there's gonna be more videos up here and where I am now. Either way, take care. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I'll catch y'all later.